Hello everyone, welcome to Real Class. My name is M.A. Ido. I'll be your guide in the course of this lecture. And we are dealing with government. Government is a very vital subject that every student of social science and arts needs to pass if they must be given admission into the university to study courses of their choice. Now, we are going to look at government and the need to actually have its thoughts. Now, the need for government actually arose as a result of people living together and then having different, opinions on issues, and of course, having different behaviors. These different behaviors that exist among individuals can actually lead to chaos, can actually lead to violence, can actually lead to oppression. To avoid or forestall all of these problems, there came about the issue or the need for governments to steer the ship of the state successfully, to forestall any form of violence, which we refer to as anarchy. Now, government has three basic definitions. We can have government as an institution of the state. We can have government as a process or act of what? Governing. Government as a process or act of governing. All right? And we have government as an academic field of study. First of all, let's look at government as an institution of the state. Government as an institution of the state simply means that body organized to steer the ship of the state successfully. And when I mean states in the course of this lecture, what I mean is country. All right, because in government, when they talk about states, emphasis is always on country. All right, so it is an institution or a body established to make sure that there is effective governance, to make sure that there is law and that there is maintenance of this law and order. All right? Now, as I earlier said, the need for government is because of the fact that we have differences in the behavior of citizens that reside within a particular state. All right? To avoid what we call lawlessness or anarchy, because lawlessness in government is called anarchy. To avoid anarchy or lawlessness, the need for government came up so that the activities of individuals living within a geographical area can be, controlled and subject to checks and all of that. Now, government as an institution of the state or government as a body put in place to check the activities of the citizens or individuals within the state is divided into three organs or arms. The organs of government or arms are the executive. That's we have the executive. Then we have the legislature. And then we have the judiciary. Now, the executive organ of government is that organ of government that is into formulation of policies and implementation of the same policies. That means they try to put forward good policies or good ideas, all right, that will be suitable for the government, and at the same time, they make sure that these policies are carried out or implemented. And who are the members of the executive? Members of the executive include the president, all right, the vice president. We have the members of the armed forces, that's the Air Force, the army. Then you talk about the naval officers and all of that. Okay. Then we talk about the police. Then you talk about the foreign diplomats, the ambassadors, Okay, all of them are members of the executive. Even at the state level, you have what they call the governor, we have the deputy governor, then we have the special advisors, then we have the commissioners, then at the federal level you have the ministers. All of them are members of the executive organ of government. So all of them put forward policies of the government that they feel are what okay for the governance of the state, and they also make sure that these policies are what implemented. All right. Then we have the legislature. Legislature is that organ of government that makes the law. All right. They make sure that the laws are made and they amend the constitution. All right. And what's constitution? That book that specifies the modus operandi, that's mode of operation of what governments. It's called the constitution. So the organ of government that makes the law, codified in the constitution, is the legislature. All right. The members of the legislature include the Senate president, then deputy Senate president. We have the speaker, we have the deputy speaker, we have the chief whip. All right. We have the majority leader, and we have the minority leader. We have the clerk of the house. All of them are members of the legislature. All right. They are specifically into the making of what? Laws. Then we talk about the judiciary, the third organ of government that is into, interpretation of laws, then adjudication of disputes between states, individuals and states. All right. Then we have members of the judiciary, talking about the judges, the magistrates, the barristers, that's the lawyers, then the entire court system. All of them fall under the judiciary or the judicial organ of government. All right. So you can see that government as an institution of the state have actually put these institutions on ground. Talking about the executive there to formulate and implement the policies in the act of governance. Then the legislature is there to make the law. All right. Then the judiciary is there to punish lawbreakers or offenders. Okay. So you can see that that's how it functions. All right. Yes, and we have government as a process or act of governing. All right. Government as a process or act of governing is another definition of government. Yeah, it refers to the body vested with the supreme power of making sure the laws are made and these laws are effective for the benefit of the what? State. All right. Government is a process itself. All right. It is a process or act of making the laws and making sure that these laws are what? Maintained. All right. And here again, we need to understand that we still have three organs. All right. Because if government is a process of governing people, all right, then there must be bodies responsible for this act of governance. Again, government as a process of act of governing is recognized under three arms or organs. Talk about the legislature, talk about the executive, and talk about the judiciary. As I earlier mentioned, that the executive organ of government is into implementation of policies, then the legislature is into lawmaking, and the judiciary is into resolution of what disputes, interpretation of laws, or adjudication of disputes, all right, within the geographical area with which it is concerned. All right. So that's that. Then we talk about government as an academic field of study. This one has to do with the study of institutions. All right. Political ideas, and then various issues that make up the government. It studies political activities, political institutions, and of course the act of governance itself. The general study of politics, the general study of government, all of them fall under the definition of government as an academic field of study. All right. Government as an academic field of study, all right, is actually taught in schools, secondary schools, colleges, and even universities or higher institutions. All right. In secondary schools, for example, government as an academic field of study is recognized as government. But when you talk about higher institutions, government as an academic field of study could actually fall into different categories. Could fall under international diplomacy, that's international studies and diplomacy, called ISD for short. We can have public administration, all right? Then we can have local government administration, all right? And all of that. Yes, that's what you find under government as an academic field of what? Study. Then we can also have political science. All of them fall under government as an academic field of what? Study. All right? So that's that for the different definitions of government, from government as an institution of the state, then as a process of art of governing, then as an academic field of study. In our next class, we shall look at the functions of governments.